time has come to relieve that pain. Will be better for me.
The Pain Clinic Pro Wrestling Talk Show. Can you feel the pain?
Good morning, wrestling fans. Welcome to the Pain Clinic for March 7th. Yes, we are into the month of March, and we are getting ready for a lot of big shows coming up. I am your humble host, the Cashman. I'm joined by DC Dan Cole, and I want to let you know a few things about today's date. That's right, the holidays for day. Crown Roast of Pork Day. It is National Cereal Day and Plant Power Day. Kudos. Birthdays today, Bruce Pritchard. 63. Bruce Pritchard, yeah, the name's familiar, I'm sure. Major Guns, 54, was part of WCW. And Tyler Bates is 29 today. Happy birthday, Tyler Bates. Let's see. We got, I'll introduce us in a second, even though I just did a second ago. But I want to get through the rest of the plugs. Hey, interested in roller derby? You want to be a skater, officiate Rock City Roller Derby? Needs you. Contact recruitment at rockderbyrecruitment@gmail.com. Join Rock City Roller Derby. If you're the men's team, Flower City Fear, FLOUR. Season's ramping up. Just got my nod to do playoffs for the WFTDA, which is the Women's Flat Track Roller Derby Association. I'll be doing announcing the playoffs. Be one of the announcers in June, so I'm super excited about that. But my dog just made some big bang. Welcome to the show. Before we get started, I'll introduce myself, Cashman, and I'm here with DC Dan Cole. DC, how is the weather in NC?
I don't want to be that guy talking to some Western New Yorkers, but it's too hot for March.
Too hot for March. Technically, I mean, it is pretty warm here too. I think we have
We hit 83 yesterday.
Oh, okay. It's not that hot here.
But here's the problem. My space I'm in right now, my office, is the only room in the second level. So it's hot up here.
Oh, man.
I think my office hit 86 yesterday. And this is our false summer spring week because we're back into the 50s next week.
And then this is where you work too, right? Is this like a
yes?
Room? Yeah. So you're cooking while you're working, getting fans blowing.
And I can't justify putting in my window AC unit yet because it's going to be in the 50s next week. So
yeah, it'll drop back down. Well, I will say here in Rochester, we've had kind of a warm trend. So I believe it got into the 40s yesterday. Today's either 50s, 60s, possibly higher. I've already looked outside my window and there's no snow in the front yard, which 2 days ago it was completely full. So we are getting a little bit of spring. I must be because of the spring forward happening this weekend. Maybe that has something to do with it. Who knows? But we are having warm weather here as well. And we're also joined by Rob Sanderson. I see Rob Sanderson there. Rob, how are you doing today?
I'm not someone who considers getting into the 40s warm, but I'm here. Good morning.
Rob, you're a hockey announcer. It always is cold when you're doing hockey, right?
That depends. If you are at a Rochester Americans game, you are very warm.
Oh,
If
okay.
you're calling a game in Shreveport, Louisiana, you're freezing. So you never really know.
Gotcha.
some of those press boxes would get kind of warm.
So it's very difficult when you go to a place for the first time and you don't know what to expect because you would think like every indoor hockey rink would be the same pretty much temperature range. No.
Yeah.
No, it can vary quite a bit. I've called games in short sleeves, and I've called games with like a sweater and a jacket and another jacket and gloves and a toque and everything. Like it, you don't know. So, but yeah, this weather today is fine. So, I'm fine with it staying like this. I doubt it will for too long, but
I will
I'll
just say
take it.
that in the time that I did PA work for our high school as well as our high school hockey team, I did do one game for Nazareth as well. I was right on the ice, so it was cold the whole
Mhm.
time.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'm like, yeah, I had to go on the ice to get to the booth where I was. So it's like, so
I mean, that's the one thing that kind of baffles me a little bit is obviously there's a very, very, very close association or whatever you want to call it between the Sabres and the Amerks. And an Amerks game could be rather warm and a Sabres game could be freezing cold. So big
very,
difference between those two. You gotta be mindful when you're getting dressed that day as to which rink you're going to.
isn't it great that you can, you know, I mean, we can still talk about hockey and it being significant this time of year in this area.
I you would think that I'd be used to it by now, but like looking yesterday at the playoff percentage odds and seeing a 96.7% next to the Sabres making the playoffs is just, I still don't believe it.
I
I
say, unless
really
there's a
like,
monumental collapse, they're going to
Yeah.
break that streak.
Yeah, they're tied for first in their division, right? I think they were both at 80 points. And which I mean they're not even you don't even have to look at the wild card tracker. You can just look at the playoff tracker because they're in first place in their division. So or I don't know if they still are after last night, but I knew the night before that they were tied for first with Tampa, I think, in first. So yeah, this is exciting. I mean, believe me, the only thing I'm mad about, and I'll just state this right now, is when the Sabres are out of it, ticket prices drop, and I can go see a game much inexpensively compared to when they're competing still, and the ticket prices are they are still high. And I'm guessing this year they will be high the rest of the year. So, but I mean, I used to be able to get like 3 tickets for under $100 for not bad seats either, you know?
And I did see a good statistic. The Sabres are on track to finish, I want to say, at like 104 points. So this could be the first time in history where in a single season the Bills had 12 plus wins and the Sabres were over 100 points.
Wow. That is
yeah, it's insane. Like I was watching the NHL Trade Center on TSN yesterday, the Canadian broadcast, and just like they had a graphic up on the screen with the like contenders in Buffalo, who has a better chance for championship, the Sabres or the Bills. They're just talking about Buffalo and how good these teams are and stuff. And I'm just, it's after you go through so many years of that, it's tough to believe that it's really. I guess the Sabres are the real deal. Like I still have a tough time like fully believing it, but
yeah.
they're there. So yeah, they're tied with Tampa, but I think they played like two more games. But regardless, I mean they're in a really, really good spot right now. And I like the trades they made as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Made a
or at
couple.
least the trades that got approved by players and everything.
Yeah. I'm gonna say we had that yesterday or the day before we had those trades because the deadline ended and there's gearing up for a playoff run. So I'm super excited. We're obviously to talk about the world of pro wrestling, but hockey tends to, you know, Rob Sanderson being a hockey announcer. I mean, I don't know if you still consider yourself a hockey announcer, but I consider you a hockey announcer. So but I think that I'm excited. It's excitement in the area because man, we haven't had a good run in many, many years. So,
Well, the only thing that's kind of unfortunate is with the trades, losing Isaac Roseyan to the
yeah,
Winnipeg organization, whether he ends up in Winnipeg or Manitoba, like that's a really, really tough loss for Rochester.
yeah,
Um,
he played what, 200 plus games down here, I think it was.
Had
Uh,
like 4 years. I mean,
yeah,
leading the team in goals and stuff, and like by all accounts, he was just a favorite of everybody who worked with him, played with him, met him, everything and stuff, and a big, big part of that team on and off the ice. So that's something they're going to really have to look to fill. But with this shakeup too, they might get their captain back from the Sabres in Metza. So, I mean, that helps, but yeah, it's one of those things. As soon as I saw that trade come across like late Thursday night, I think it was just like, oh boy, Sabres fans are going to be really happy online, and Amerks diehards are going to be really upset.
Yeah. I did see a
So,
lot of people I know that worked with the Amerks that were like saying, they were sorry to see him leave because he was such a good guy. So, uh, but that's the way the puck.
it's the nature of, I mean, people don't want to use the development word, but
Yeah.
the AHL is a developmental league, and I mean, this very well could be a much better opportunity for Roseanne as well. So it kind of is what it is.
Very cool. Very cool. So, cool. I'm glad we got that out of the way because it's, Rob being the hockey expert, I'm being an amateur at best when it comes to hockey. But we want to talk a little bit about that. I'm better at playing charity basketball games, which actually is not true either. I played that last night and I've been hurting all day today, but that's not here nor there. We're going to talk about pro wrestling, and there's some things I want to talk about, like what's in the
How
box.
many dunks?
No, what's in? Oh, no dunks. Yeah, like I'm a dunker. If the rim was lower, yeah, there's a chance. But no, I'm not a dunker. I was the top
We
one.
can't call you Dunkzilla.
No, I was like
Dunkaroo Rich.
I may have been the third tallest guy in my team, so I did play center a lot. We'll say that we had with different. It was a lot of fun though. It was get out there to make some money for a charity, and but nevertheless, I want to talk a little bit about what's in the box, and it wasn't me, and definitely wasn't my score wasn't in the box score either. We'll talk about that. We got to talk about some additions to which I thought was really great to AEW this past week. I definitely excited about that. And so let's see, what else did I put on my list here? There was a few things. We a new IC champion last night. Okay, I'll just jump in right last night, and there's a few WWE items in the lineup there, but like surprise, we had the Elimination Chamber last weekend, and everyone and their mother assumed Cody Rhodes was going to win it, and if you were under that assumption, you were incorrect. But let's start off with last night. Cody Rhodes beating Drew McIntyre on SmackDown to take the championship to now have a matchup at WrestleMania in the main event against Randy Orton. I find it interesting, both, obviously, faces, Randy Orton, he at times tweener, but that's going to be the main event of WrestleMania. Will that draw more people there? I doubt it. Rob, you weren't here last week. We were talking about their worries because they're like 10,000 people less at this time last year that have bought tickets. So they've got some good deals out there. If you want to get they have coupons. I think it was last weekend, but I'm sure they'll do it again. Coupons for tickets, but I've just seen, ever since there was word out that they were worried about, being able to fill 2 nights in the stadium, that there's been a lot of people out there throwing up. No, I mean, not throwing up, but throwing up numbers of how much.
A lot of people throwing up at creative. Yes.
Yeah. How much, you see how much the floor seats were going for? I believe it was $10,000 for WrestleMania, and people were,
And that's low.
yeah, it's insane, so they're having, so they're trying to maybe make some changes to think that they'll be able to draw more. I don't know if that will or not. I'm just surprised that last night that we got it on SmackDown, and it seemed only obvious. It was, what's more better matchup, a true heel Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton, or Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton, especially after they had a segment in the backstage before the Randy Orton won that title, where Sami Zayn asked Randy Orton, how he could do it, how he could RKO his friends and win titles and stuff like that without feeling any guilt. And Randy Orton kind of gave him some advice about, do what's best for you, kind of. And so that was kind of a heelish talk. And now obviously I have a feeling Sami Zayn's going to come out as the guy who did something, I don't remember, took somebody out or something, backstage. And I'm sure they're just slowly burning Sami Zayn. But is that a solution to draw more seats? I don't know. What do you think, DC? No?
No, I don't think that's going to move the needle at all. I could be proven wrong. Wouldn't surprise me, but man, that just that reeks of desperation.
Yeah.
And I think part of the problem they're experiencing too, no offense to Cody, but I think there was a certain level of Cody burnout. But now here we are again, and you're going to have Cody in the main event for the fourth straight year. And I mean, poor Drew McIntyre, what did he do to deserve this?
Seriously, you know?
And I get the whole thing. They were coming out of Elimination Chamber, not thinking that Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre was the best idea. Well, then change your Elimination Chamber booking. Why paint yourself into that corner and then have to pivot like this? I don't. I'm glad I really don't dedicate too much of my time to watching the product.
Yeah, I get that. What about you, Rob? What do you think? I mean, is that will that put butts in seats? You know?
I don't really think there's much they can do at this point to put butts in seats other than realize that the ticket prices are just, yeah, I mean, insane is such an understatement. I don't care if it's your favorite wrestling company, your favorite sports team, your favorite band, like charging those kind of prices, it's just, it should be illegal somehow. Like I don't think there's really much they can do. I definitely agree. I mean, I saw a lot of Cody burnout on social media after he won the belt last night. I mean, if you had told me 4 years ago that at this point Cody Rhodes would be a three-time WWE champion, I would have said you're crazy. So, I feel like they're pushing a little too close on situations in the past where they did a little too much pushing a Cena or an Orton, or a Roman Reigns.
Roman Reigns
Yeah,
sticks out
yeah,
immediately. Yeah.
yeah. This might not be the best thing for Cody to already have the belt again.
Yeah, you know, and
So
you think about it. Randy Orton gets cheered, so does Cody Rhodes. Who will get the most cheers and who will get the boos when it comes down to the match? Obviously, I mean, this is a perfect setup for Cody to do that infamous heel that nobody says is ever going to happen, the heel
Well,
move.
one of them's gonna turn.
Yeah, Randy Orton's the unpredictable one. He RKO's everybody, you know. It's like it just seems obvious he could do it, but I just wonder, you know, Randy Orton, what's 13-time champ, something like that, I think, and it's like they just kind of
14. He's going for 15.
yeah, so they kind of wrote him off during the whole Cena end of his career thing, and because obviously Cena won 17, they didn't make a big deal about Randy Orton at all, and now Cena's gone, and that number comes up again. So I mean, there's some creative issues that are just falling flat with WWE. You know, it does not surprise me in the least. They're playing it safe, I think. You know, they're trying to play it safe. I don't know. I don't absolutely, you know, it's not a marquee matchup 10 years ago. If it wasn't Cody and somebody else, yeah, maybe. But I think, you know, I don't know. I mean,
well, I think that there's obviously a backstory with them. I just feel like if you're going to go this route,
yeah,
which I kind of feel like this was a plan for a while, even though it kind of seems like desperate booking, like
yeah.
find a way to make them bigger current rivals than just, oh, hey, good guy. Let's do this thing in 6 weeks. Like,
Obviously, they're going to bring back the time when, you know, when Cody was underneath Randy Orton. Remember when they were in that little group? Who was it? It was Cody.
Legacy.
Yeah, Legacy. They could definitely. I mean, that definitely is going to
Ted
pop up.
DiBiase, and then for a short time, who was the third guy?
Manu.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, Manu.
I can't believe I thought of that. Yeah.
Manu, who's worked his way out of everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really think they'll be able to get Ted DiBiase Jr. to do a run in, but
If they got Bale, they can. Oh,
that's true. Actually, you know what? They have the connections to do whatever they want, so I take that back.
yeah.
Including RFK Jr.'s niece, or whatever, getting signed as a PC trainee. So, yeah.
Yeah, I doubt they'll do it though. I mean, even WWE's smart enough not to, like, you know, someone who's in the middle of a huge.
I don't know, Cash.
Yeah,
I think they might not be as smart as you're giving them credit for.
It crossed their mind already. They probably sat and you after watching the Unreal or whatever it is, WWE Unreal, you see these booking meetings they have. It's got to have popped up. So at least before they pulled they pulled the trigger on the whole event to happen that way. But I mean, they've got it planned out. So it's but it's gonna fall flat. I don't think there's there's no chase going on. I mean, there's no chase for the title. That's what made a lot of people excited the last couple of years because obviously Cody Rhodes is chasing. So I don't has he come in as the champion in a WrestleMania yet? I'm not sure. I don't think so. He's won it at WrestleMania, yes, twice.
Wasn't that last year he lost it or no?
Oh, that's when he beat who? It wasn't John Cena, was it that he beat at WrestleMania? I know he had to beat John Cena to get it. So.
Or maybe that because his first I thought his first title reign was like Mania to Mania. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe you're right, but it's like, yeah, nevertheless, it's still, there's they've creatively they've got what a month and a half to figure this out. So, which what unfortunately is the worst too, because man, that's a long time, especially when I think it's I don't know. I'm curious to see the reactions of the crowds, and not by what I hear on WWE TV, but the videos that people take out in the crowds when those guys start going one on one with each other in the middle of the ring, or at least cutting promos on each other. So that's still to be had, but that's what we got after last weekend's Elimination Chamber. That, and we also got what's in the box. Yeek. I'll tell you, I watched it. I felt, I mean, I'm watching it live. It felt very flat. I didn't think the crowd cared, and then you tell WWE didn't care because they shut the lights off and then went to the next thing almost immediately. So they had to scatter out of the ring so they could do the next thing very quickly. But Danhausen has been on both Raw and SmackDown since, and he put a curse on Cody on Mysterio, and he lost his belt on Monday night. There was rumors he was going to put a curse on Drew McIntyre last night, and he would lose his belt, but he just lost his belt. There was no curse placed, but he did show up last night. Yes, there's some funny elements to Danhausen. Listen, that's what I said last week. If it's him, now you got R-Truth and Danhausen. He's like the Santino Marella kind of guy, and I don't ever take him seriously in a wrestling match, but because what? How many times did he wrestle in AEW? I mean, he wrestled once and got hurt, and then we didn't see him for like 9 months. So, but I'm sure he will wrestle eventually. He brought the teeth out to Michael Cole, but I think overall, and thank you, DC, for pointing out Botchamania. I watched that this morning before we did this. And you had the video of the people out in the crowd, and there were no cheers going on. There was boos, especially when the lights went off and they had to get out of the ring. So, what do you think, DC, of the Danhausen? I mean, not only that we had only predicted it for, I don't know, multiple weeks here, and then some people are like, well, that wasn't a big deal. You see the sign, by the way, at AEW Dynamite where we don't want to wait for a crate or something like that. It was on a sign. It was pretty funny.
Actually, my favorite sign at Dynamite this week was I didn't have to sell a kidney to be here.
Yeah, but what did you think about Danhausen?
Um, Talk about setting him off in the complete wrong way. No offense to Danhausen. I love his work, but he's not a big enough name to pull a stunt like that. He'll get over despite it, I think, but yeah, I don't know what they were thinking that was a great way to debut him.
Yeah.
It's I bet there were some people there who had no idea who he was. But yeah, to have someone come out of the box and do a dance number and then leave, like, I don't know, that was some Vince McMahon level gobbledygooker stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's a lot of comparison to that. Rob, what did you think?
I mean, it's tough because it's not the way I would have booked it for sure. I think I agree that it's kind of setting him up for failure. The first appearance needs to be impactful, but if you build it up that much and then you have that many fans who don't know who he is and stuff, I mean, you really were setting him up for a lackluster reaction. You know what? I think it sucked in terms of a debut, but the backstage stuff I've seen since, they've gotten back on track with what they should be doing and really how they should have started with him.
Yeah.
So I mean, that character is, as long as they let him still come up with creative, uh, I think that character can do very well in WWE. So you know, I'm a big fan of him. I mean, both the character and the person. I'm happy he's there. He belongs there, to be honest and stuff. It was disappointing to see that kind of a reaction, but I don't blame him at all for that. Giving him that huge, I don't know.
Build
It
up.
seems it seems like they kind of like knew for so long they were doing this, but then they didn't really like actually have a plan. Like, all right, just walk to the ring and that'll be it.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, my initial reaction when watching it, as soon as the music hit, I'm like, oh, he got def rebelled.
Ooh,
You know,
yeah.
what's interesting is last night he did a backstage segment where he went through a few people, and at the end of it, he this is apparently what he's going to be doing for a while. He was paired up with the Miz to be his mentor because he had a list of demands. Obviously, he had the same thing on Monday. A list of demands like you know be immediately inducted into the Hall of Fame. I mean, it was funny stuff. I laughed at it. I thought, you know, he was like, but this one was last night. He had a list of demands, obviously on a torn up piece of paper when you see it, and it was to be paired with a mentor. And then Miz happened to be standing in the hallway near them. And so then so it looks like him and Miz are going to be doing some stuff together, which I don't have a problem with because Miz plays a great straight guy, you know, and because he had to deal with R-Truth for so long, you got to love Miz to, you know, working with a comedy act. So that's what it looks like they're going to be going for a while. I mean, I like Danhausen. I remember he was at that first GCW show in Rochester, or not the first one, the second one, I think it was the one I went to. And I remember I didn't get a chance to meet him. I saw him and I saw him backstage. I saw him around the corner. He was signing things and talking to people, but I should have gone up and talked to him just because I do appreciate kind of what he does. Takes me back to like the old, he reminds me of like the old movie hosts that used to show like monster movies on the weekends, and they would have a dude come out and like pretend he was Dracula for a while. So I always kind of, you know, have a soft spot in my heart for guys that like, you know, do that. And he's a huge comic book fan. Obviously he's in tight with CM Punk. CM Punk, they say, is like may have helped him get a job there, which I mean, I'm sure they were interested before, you know. I mean, you know, you have to be blind not to see what the guy was doing in Ring of Honor before he came to AEW. So, you know, I wish him the best, and you know, maybe we'll get some funny segments out of it. You know, he does. I think he did demand a main event at WrestleMania too. I don't think that's going to happen though. But yeah, he had his list of demands. It was interesting. So well, you know, it's been a good week, like you said, Rob. Backstage stuff has been good. You know, it's just the debut kind of fell flat. So, and they probably realized it too. You know, it's like you expect something, you know, some big giant surprise. You know, everyone. I mean, I was pretty sure thought it was going to be Chris Jericho, but as soon as they opened the crate and you saw the coffin in there, it's like, oh, this is you know, it's obvious. You know. So you know, I wish him luck, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he does. You know,
I hope they don't rush him into being in matches. That's my thing. Like, obviously he can wrestle. We were just thinking about the other day, like when when Ash was helping me move into Chicago, we went like way down to the middle of nowhere, Illinois, to see a random indie show that weekend. And got to see a match maybe first on the card with a young Donovan Danhausen, no face paint or anything like that. And so you know, cool to see his whole journey kind of get him to this point. He's worked so hard. I mean, how many times has he had to wash the face paint off? Like every day for years and years. Like that alone is commitment to the gimmick and stuff. But I think there's plenty of stuff they can do. I mean, I don't know. I guess it depends on who's running creative. And and again, I think with that, it's just one of those things where, much like I talk about with like AEW storylines and stuff too, it's got to be spaced out. Don't give away everything with him in 2 weeks and then you got nothing to do.
Yeah. The good thing about him too is the people are going to be dressing up like him in the crowd,
Oh,
and
he's going to sell so much merch there.
yeah, it's gonna he's gonna
Well, the
do
shirt was already a top seller.
yeah. So then and then money talks when you work for the WWE, even if you don't like it's not your atypical thing. They definitely like when people can sell merch. So yeah, it was, kudos to him. And yeah, I think about the face, the makeup, it goes all the way up into his scalp. So it's a lot of stuff, but yeah, then very,
Right? I mean, he paints the ears and stuff. I mean,
yeah,
that's that's not. I mean, obviously, I'm sure he's working with really good quality paint and stuff now. But yeah, I think I've said it before. I mean, like interactions with him, working on indie shows with him, with like you mentioned, GCW, ESW,
yeah,
Fed down in Texas and stuff. Like he's somebody that has always been super nice to everyone he's worked with, every fan he's met. He's somebody who puts so much work into stuff and is willing to do anything to help, promote a show or whatever and stuff. He really goes about things the right way. That I kind of wish he had done some more seminars on the indies, to be honest, before getting the big contract. But obviously AEW had an issue with figuring out how to book him. So hopefully WWE has some better luck with at least more people involved in the creative process there. Um, Time will tell.
And we do have a story in the news about creative changing a little bit this week too, but do want to mention one last thing before we get off of the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view was that Seth Rollins was involved in the finish of or one of the finishes of the main event of the Elimination Chamber. Seth Rollins being one of the masked guys who I assumed from the beginning he was going to have something to do with it. And he ended up being demasked during the Elimination Chamber and creating a thing in which Randy Orton could win. So we'll say, but he did. Drew McIntyre was involved as well. It was one of the worst Elimination Chamber matches I've ever seen in my life because one, they left the door open and people just kept coming in, and it was like, that's why it's a cage match because you're not supposed to let people in from the outside. And there was like people coming in everywhere. And, but it was as funny as I'd been talking for a while that this mask guy was eventually going to lead up to Seth Rollins being back, and boom, it happened on the Elimination Chamber.
We talked about this last week, and I was like, "Don't rush it back. Who's he gonna fight? Logan Paul?"
Yeah, that's who he is going to fight. It looks like because that's who he. That was
But he has a long-standing beef with Logan Paul.
Yeah, well, I think he's like against anybody in the Logan Paul is like the last man standing from the Vision with all the injuries that have happened. So he might be the only one he can take on. It may have been originally been Bronson Reed or maybe who knows. Uh but so that was an interesting way to end it. So moving on to some other stuff that went on. Hey, Rob, you got to deal with, and I didn't put this on the list, but Brody Lee Jr. was in town here for GCW like 2 weeks ago, a week ago from yesterday. So it's 8 days ago, and cut a sweet promo and challenged Joey Janela. I don't know if he challenged him. Did he challenge him? Because I know he's wrestling Joey Janela.
I'm gonna say, isn't that the main event next month?
Yeah, it's the one that's it's in Vegas, right?
Yeah, so he came out in Rochester on Friday. It was him coming out to the ring as a guest of the Blade after the Blade had defeated Jimmy Lloyd, and they were just kind of talking, and Brody was cutting a great promo with his fans just about being back home and stuff. Like
I saw he laundry listed things in Rochester, so it's like
yeah.
yeah.
And so with that, he kind of got a little bit more cocky as the promo went on, to the point where the Blade kind of turned on him a little bit. At
He
that
puts him in the
point,
corner, yeah.
yeah, at that point, Colin ran on one leg from commentary into the ring to break them up. And it was set up for the next night for Brody to be in Joey Janela's corner against the Blade in Hartford. That match happened, and then after the match, Brody was basically like, Joey was just saying, Brody, uh, I want you in my corner at spring break. Brody says, I don't want to be in your corner. I want to wrestle. And then it turns into, I want to wrestle you. Joey says no. Joey says no again. And then eventually, Brody gets Joey to basically, change his mind and turn around and clock him.
Whoa.
Yeah, that is the main event of Joey Janela's Spring Break 10 in Las Vegas on April 17th. Joey Janela versus Brody Lee Jr. What'll be his official first singles match. I mean, really his first match. He did that like battle royal last year, which he won. But this will be his first actual wrestling match. So he did so well on the mic. Everybody, literally everybody was just like, how? Like he obviously he's been around the business his entire life, all that kind of stuff. But to be that comfortable in your first time doing a live promo on a mic in front of a crowd, and obviously knowing there's tons of people watching live, on Triller and stuff too, like and obviously afterwards, millions of people seeing the clip online. But um, I was so impressed. It obviously made me feel really old as well.
Oh, wait
You
a
know,
second. Let me ask you a question. Don't you have to be like 18 to wrestle? I don't know. Is there rules about that? I thought his
depends
first
on
match.
it depends on the state.
Okay, I was gonna say I
Uh,
thought his first match was gonna be in 2CW in 2027, I think it was, or something like that.
um, 2030, I think was what yeah, it's no, you can in certain states. And that was part of the reason why he could not really do that. He was able to do as much as he did and no more than he did in Rochester. And that was even kind of getting approval for, um, I mean, peeling back the curtain, like
Yeah.
Colin had to break that up, in order for that to kind of work for Brody to actually be standing in the ring and stuff. Cause that was, I don't know how much I've actually talked about it on the show, but like,
Poor Colin on
when
one leg having to go through the ropes, man. I was watching that. It's like, oh my God.
he made me so nervous,
Yeah.
as the two of us were calling that match before, and we've got four crutches next to us at the commentary table. It's just ridiculous. But, um, it's when Brody made the surprise appearance at 2CW and we got fined for it, which
Oh,
I don't know if we talked about this or not.
oh no.
But the athletic commission was not happy. Um, and part of that was just the fact that you had somebody who was under 18 getting into the ring. Nothing more than that. Literally just being in the ring was a no-no. But it's been discussed more since, and it was basically allowed for him to go in and talk on a microphone and then, physically be separated away. So he wasn't, let's just say like Joey hit him the next night in Hartford, and that's fine to do that in Connecticut. That would not have flown in New York State.
All right.
So
I was gonna say, remember when we were TNA used to do the pictures in the ring, and I know there had to have been kids that have gone up in there.
yes,
Yeah, yeah,
well, I mean, even if I don't know when the rules actually started, but honestly, even if you think about like back in the day, like WWF used to invite kids in to do like a guest ring announcing thing at like Superstars tapings.
yeah.
Um, and that's literally the same thing. So, um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I could probably do a 10-hour show on just the commission and the policies that don't make any sense. Like, when there's floor mats for around the ring, but they're under the ring while you're setting up the show, and then somebody forgets to put them out at ringside. but then the commission who's at the show decides to not say anything until after the show so they can issue a fine for them not being matched, where if they'd said something during the show because they actually cared about the safety of the wrestlers, then somebody could have been like, oh my God, yeah, they're right there under the ring. Let us pull them out right now to make it safer for everybody. It was a genuine mistake, but convenient that they waited until after the show to act like they cared about it so they could get fine money.
To tell a commission in
What's that commission?
say commission, New York makes enough money on the marijuana now. You don't need to worry about nickel and diamond as pro wrestling shows, okay? But they will, because they're the boss. They've shut shows down, so
Oh, they sure have. Yeah. Yeah, it's there are things though that they let you know WWE get away with more, and even TNA, like you mentioned, and stuff that, I mean, realistically, there's plenty of things that shouldn't fly, but you never really know exactly what you're going to get with them. So, I mean, luckily, they can't find me for saying this stuff, but if they could, I'm sure they would.
oh,
So,
I'm sure they find a way. So you're gonna go to Vegas then and get to call his first match?
I'm not sure yet. It kind of depends on this ankle situation. So, yeah, well, I certainly would like to, but I will certainly be watching it one way or another. Yeah.
That's cool. I saw that. Yeah, everybody was in town with him last weekend, so it was good to probably catch up with Amanda.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. At one point, like I was like doing some notes and research, and I heard something. I looked to the side, and then I like see this woman standing there, and then she looks at me, and we both have the most like surprised look on our face, like, wait, what? Because I didn't know she was already there at that point. But then we got to catch up quite a bit. And always great to see her. So.
Definitely. So that I'm glad we got to talk about it, because I did kind of hint last week that I wish you were there so we could talk about it, but you are here now, so we did. I wanted to get it out of the way, but yeah, I did see. So that's part of the news today, was the announcement of his first match in Vegas. So we'll see how that goes. We got a month and a half before that. He's got to be a pretty popular kid in school, I'm guessing. It's like, yeah, only beat up guys who are on TV. Fun things like that.
I mean, not to peel back the curtain on every single little thing, but like it's interesting to like, you know, Amanda and Brody and Nolan are there in the afternoon and stuff, and then the show happens and Brody like just goes out there, cuts an awesome promo. Literally, I don't think he could have done any better at it than he did, for a kid who's barely 14. And like then after the show, like him and Nolan are just like messing around like kids on the stage while stuff's being like torn down, and like Nolan's grabbing little things, like pretending to use them as like almost like you're fighting with action figures kind of things. And like it's like this kid's about to main event the biggest indie show of the year, but he's also like playing like a kid with his brother. So it puts things in perspective a little bit, I guess. But
I thought I saw a video where Nolan was training too.
no,
he
like
he may have
he
just
seems
been
hanging
there.
out a lot.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
mean, they always include him and stuff, or whatever. But I, as far as I know, he still doesn't really have interest in actually like pursuing it. I think he's just more hanging out and
I
I
wonder
don't know.
if Brody went back and watched some of his dad's promos, because I closed my eyes and I heard his dad, so it was like, especially because John would always promote Rochester whenever he was here, on the microphone, and it's like in the few times he was here, but he did. And I just I thought that was it's like, all right, we know time and all, and he'll grow another 8 inches and he'd be a monster. He's already a monster at
He's
14.
already a monster. Yeah, I mean, like, and the fact that I mean he's going through all of this, training with TJ and Natty and everybody and stuff. Like he's got everybody in the business on his side. And I mean, this is really just still, you can't even really call it the beginning. Like to me, this is still like the preseason to his career, but like he's gonna have more of a step up than like more of a head start than like anybody ever, by the time he can like actually be wrestling. But I mean, clearly he's going to have the size, he's going to have the knowledge, he's he's already comfortable in front of a crowd and stuff. So Sky's the limit for that kid.
Yeah, you know, we see like old videos from WWE, like, look, it's AJ going to meeting her favorite wrestler, or when she was a little kid, and look, it's you know, it's Bailey meeting her favorite wrestler and stuff, and you know, and they all had that interest when they were 12 years old, and he's, you know, he's right around the same age, so he's definitely, you know, got a definitely good foot in for the business, and you know, kudos to him, and we're super excited to see what happens. You know, especially the when he's you know getting his first match. I'm sure you know it'll be a big deal. So very that's awesome. I think it's awesome. I'm sure you know. I'm sure his trainers are really thrilled about it too. So besides that, how was the show in Rochester overall? I mean, it looked like it was definitely a good. It was the first of what, two shows that weekend. The other one was in Connecticut. You said it sounded like it was a
Yeah,
good
yeah.
weekend.
Hartford the next night, and then they're this weekend they're doing a triple shot. Louisville last night, Columbus tonight, and Chicago tomorrow. But yeah, it was a fun time as always. I mean, I think like it was great to see the Blade and catch up with him for a bit, you know, as well. I think honestly, KJ Orso, the former Fuego del Sol, and Don Freeze stole the show in my mind. Just an awesome match. I think KJ is literally like the best heel on the Indies and should be on TV again. And Don Freeze is somebody who is a kid from New York who has the size of a heavyweight and moves around doing Spanish flies and cartwheels and all sorts of stuff. It's insane to watch. So that was really fun. Um, and I mean, more than anything, the first thing that comes to mind is the main event. Cheech unsuccessfully challenged for the GCW World Title, but it was a very good back and forth match with probably a million false finishes.
Yeah.
My throat was killing me the next day, but it was really cool. You got a little bit of a as they would say, like a Rochester Radicals appearance with you know, Atticus Coger's faction got involved in the match. And so evening the odds, Cheech was helped out by uh, Cloudy and Captain Nagando and Colin, the four that have kind of been doing this in Rochester for so long. And even a double team maneuver from Cheech and Cloudy, which is, for those who are big indie fans would know that that's something that we never thought we would see again. I will since I'm spilling the beans on everything, I've tried so hard to get them to reunite for one match, and they won't do it. Um, I have tried for years to convince them, and get promoters to offer them more money to do it and stuff, and they just wouldn't do it or whatever. But then, you know, during that main event last week, Cloudy did an awesome knee off the top rope, and then they hit the partly Cloudy with a chance of Cheech double team maneuver, which I was upset because in that exact moment I was just like, why can I not think of this name? But I haven't called that move in so long.
Sure.
But it just really cool to see them all kind of involved in that. So great crowd as always, super loud, super fun. It's we don't know when the next date will be, but I mean, looking at now these 2 years of GCW running here, it's been pretty much every 4 months. So hopefully that would mean something around like a late June, give or take a month or something. I don't know. But always look forward to it. It's again, I still can't understand why other wrestling companies have never ran Water Street. I'm sure it's not cheap, but it's just such a cool place for a show.
Oh yeah. Anyone go come off the balcony this time?
Ryan O'Neal did go off the balcony again. Yes.
There we go.
So yeah, he was part of the team that was victorious in the opener, a 10-man tag of Team Rochester against Team Not from Rochester, which was interesting because then Ryan O'Neal wrestled Billy Starks last night in GCW and was announced from Philadelphia again. I was like, well, wait a minute, I thought you were moving to Rochester. You're part of Team Rochester. What's going on here? But another really good kid. I mean, I mean, Ryan O'Neal, I'm sure is somebody that a lot of people have not heard of yet. Young kid who's only been at it for like a year or so, but never really seen somebody work so hard on the indies to get every opportunity he can, traveling every single day, introducing himself to every single person at shows and stuff. And like Billy Starks had asked to work with him last night. And, it's a very weird situation when Billy is like the veteran giving a young kid a chance. That's bizarre. But he is a name to absolutely keep in mind because he's got big things ahead, no doubt about it.
Very cool. He's got the same name as a famous actor too. So just to throw that out there. In Love Story, Ryan O'Neal. Okay, but nevertheless, yeah, very cool. I wanted to mention I see the Butcher and the Blade are tagging this weekend for the first time in a very long time, and so that's a good sign that maybe we'll see them in AEW again real soon. But
Sure hope so. Sure hope so. But we're kind of, I don't know. I mean, obviously, like that was Blade. Sorry, like his match in Rochester was his sixth match back from the back surgery. And I mean, we talked a lot before the show and stuff. He's feeling as good as ever. And obviously, like doing all these singles matches and stuff too, which he hadn't really done in so long before the injury and the surgery. Like he'd just been tagging for years. So singles match will be naturally a little bit more, maybe not harder, but a little bit more of a body tester, so to speak, than being able to tag out and take a break kind of thing. But he's been doing great, and I really hope that they get back on TV soon. It's frustrating that it hasn't even happened yet. Just thinking about the whole like, well, these three or four people on the roster have to be booked in matches every single show. So we're gonna keep adding to the roster. But how many people are sitting in catering or staying at home? So
well, you said also, didn't you say Butcher moved to Arizona or something? Or
yes, yeah. Which I mean, so that impacts like the indie side of things. And I mean, Andy's doing stuff with his new band and everything too. And I mean, Jesse's up here, Blade is up, living in Buffalo, and so they're not located next to each other anymore in terms
yeah,
of like taking like indie bookings and stuff. But I know that they have. I mean, people get flown to every show on the indies. That's legit. So I know they're tagging in Maine later this month as well. But yeah, I sure hope. I mean, Butcher is in the best shape of his life right now, and he hasn't had a match in over a year on TV. It's I really hope they get an opportunity soon. So
very cool. Very man, and hopefully we do see him soon. So I do want to mention one thing before I get to the news now. David Finley shows up on Dynamite this past week. That's the Bullet Club War Dogs leader, a former New Japan Pro wrestler as well, and now apparently All Elite Wrestling. He debuted on Wednesday, came out, he came out after the Darby Allin and Orange Cassidy defeated Gabe Kidd and Clark Connors. And once again, not a lot of people knew who he was coming out, but David Finley was a big free agent. WWE was thinking about signing him as well. It looks like he signed with AEW, and with him signing with AEW, I guess I saw something after that saying that they were going to put him in NXT if he came to WWE. So he changed his mind because he wanted to be on the main roster, which that's all everybody is in AEW, on the main roster. So that's exciting to see him because now he can do some stuff. Okay.
yeah, I mean, I think there should have been. It's to me that was very similar, like different ways, but like the kind of situation with a debut like Danhausen a few days earlier, the other place where it was kind of there should have been something different to that. Like you're not automatically going to get everybody in that crowd to know who David Finley is
Yeah.
without it being said on a microphone, without his name appearing on the Tron. Like, so if you're a fan in the crowd, you're just like, who is this guy? And I mean, I don't know. I can't tell you how many David Finley matches I have watched, but like, would I recognize him within a second of seeing him from a distance in the crowd? I don't know. I mean, I probably would figure it out pretty quick because it looks like him, and
Yeah.
he's
He
going
used
out
to,
there with
well,
Clark Connors and Gabe Kidd. But
he used to have longer hair. I remember he had longer hair for a long time, and it definitely is shorter now, or it's more styled back.
he had it tied up, but
Oh, did he?
which made
Okay.
him look it made him look a lot like an indie wrestler from the area, which is what confused me at first. But knew it was him, and I mean he can do really good work there. I hate that they're just being called the Dogs. I absolutely hate it. You know, obviously they were like the Bullet Club War Dogs and stuff, and we've finally moved away from the Bullet Club in wrestling. But the Dogs, I mean, you already have Brody King barking, and so I think that's it's such a lame choice for yet another stable. But he hopefully he does some good work there. I mean, he is definitely a very talented wrestler. It's just the roster keeps growing and growing, and at some point that means maybe you need to open a TV show with something other than John Moxley match. Um, we'll see.
Yeah, you
Followed by an Orange Cassidy match, followed by a Willow Nightingale match. Like,
gotta watch the Botchamania when this week's Botchamania where Moxley's trying to say wolf and he calls it woof. And then it's funny. By the way, I'm going to let you in on the other admit. So you'll be in a second here, but I'm just taking a little break there for 1 second. But yeah, he can't say wolf. Apparently he says woof. And that I think is pretty funny stuff. So we lost Rob there for a second. He should be back in a second here. But yeah, that's grief. Botchamania is such a hidden gem. You really got to check it out, especially the bit. I mean, you think it's over 5 minutes in, and then it's like 15 minutes more after
You
that.
have to watch to the end.
Yeah, you gotta watch. You definitely have to watch to the end. So it was good stuff. So I'm gonna get to the point now where we go through and do some news. And I did mention Penta did win the IC title on Monday Night Raw, which kudos. You can't deny the crowd and also the curse of Danhausen on.
This is kind of crazy, but
Yeah.
that's the first I'm hearing that Penta won the Intercontinental Championship. Shows how out of
Breaking
touch I
news
am with
here on
that
the Paid
product.
Clinic.
Yeah, there you go. You learn stuff. Yeah, he won it.
Wow.
Dom dropped it. Dom got cursed by Danhausen in the back.
Saw that clip. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he ended up losing the title. So that's why I kind of in the beginning of the show I kind of said maybe Drew McIntyre was going to get cursed. There you are. It was going to get cursed, and then did not get cursed though. But still, Cody won last night. So, yeah, Penta is the new IC champion, and it's like I don't think we're ever going to get back to Lucha Brothers because it seems like every time there's a good spot to have Ray Phoenix come in, and then they send Penta in a different direction. But yeah,
Why would we need an awesome tag team like the Lucha Brothers when we have the great tag team of Damian Priest and R-Truth?
yeah, put together right before the
What?
together last night. They had a
Number one contenders, Artiste. Come on.
they had an elimination tag team elimination match, and that they were the last tag team and they won. And but they everyone else was eliminated before them. Even the Wyatt Six there, which I think is I feel terrible for them because they just don't know what to do with the Wyatt Six. They just have no clue.
They didn't know what to do with him from night 2.
Seriously.
I mean, that thing has been. I obviously appreciate the the legacy and whatever and stuff, but I mean, to me, that was a disaster from the start, and I cannot believe that that's still going.
Yeah, and the other thing is, and I've said this before, and I feel terrible, but freaking Dallas there is doing an impersonation of his brother. It's like you're trying to almost forget that Bray Wyatt was another person because he does the same cryptic promos, and it's like, I mean, it's great to honor his memory and everything, but it's like an impersonation more than anything else. And it's not getting over, it's, they change the music. It doesn't help. They do something different. It doesn't help. So they put the tag team titles. I think the only time they defended them was the time they lost them. And it was like maybe 2 months after they had won them. So I just think it's, but all the established tag teams lost before R-Truth and Damian Priest stepped in the ring and they won in the end. And so now they're the number one contenders. Which obviously they got to put together a WrestleMania card. They got a month and a half. There's one match. So
Well,
there's
give
one.
me my $700 ticket now.
Yeah, I know. I can't wait.
Yeah.
I want to sit so far away I can't see anything. In fact, the only way I'll be able to watch it is to watch it on the replay on ESPN app that I paid $29 for. No.
I mean, just like wait a few weeks and let R-Truth and Danhausen become a brief tag team or whatever, and put them in some 4-way tag match or something at Mania, just for the humor side of things.
I would love that, but they got the Miz, so I think the Miz and Danhausen they'll do that for a while and see how that goes. Thank goodness, I mean, like, I was always kind of critical of the teeth, but they did show up on day one. We haven't seen them since, so which I guess is not an absolutely bad thing. So I'm going to jump to the news, and then we make our thoughts on the news and everything. One, if you're going to watch Collision tonight, it's live, 8:00 on TNT. And you got 3 matches. You got Swerve Strickland versus Gravity. We've got the Outrunners versus Private Party, which we haven't seen in a while, versus LFT, which is Roosh and
LFI.
Yeah, LFI. Sorry, I'm the Swirl.
I mean, with the amount of times all these factions have changed, maybe what's that WWE, the MFTs and LFI had gotten together with the Andrade Hardy family office and
I get confused. There's so when they throw a new name at you, you got to remember the Swirl, which is Blake Christian and Lee Johnson, 4-way tag for $200,000. So you've got that.
It's been a while since we've had a money match.
There we go. Yeah. Claudio Castagnoli versus Takeshita for the CMLL World Championship. Interesting. You're not going to see that change, I'm guessing. And FTR versus the Rascals for the AEW tag team titles. So that'd be good. It starts from Tucson, Arizona, starts at 8:00 tonight on TNT.
Hopefully Blake Christian wins that match, and he can buy everybody the pizza and GCW when he's back 2 weeks.
There you go. Yeah, definitely. So some other news. I don't know if you guys saw this or not. Road Dogg has left the WWE. That's right. Brian James.
Was it ever clarified if he left or if he was let go?
He opted to,
because I've seen it both ways.
I think that he opted to leave his position on the SmackDown creative team. And I've read this in a couple places that he got a bad review from the company and he wasn't happy with creative anyways. And so he resigned. I don't know.
Which is interesting because everybody's been unhappy with his creative. So
yeah, I was going to say, if you watch the Unreal show, you will see a lot of him backstage fighting for angles they never use. He does it every time they show one of those booking meetings. Interesting cat. I will say that he did eat at Soccer Sam's Pizza Pasta Cafe after a WWE house show in Rochester. I was supposed to meet him there, but I wanted to stay for the whole show. He did not, and he went early and signed autographs and took pictures with people there. And now that, of course, restaurant is no longer around. I miss it. Free bread.
I loved that restaurant so much. I remember asking Sam, like, can you please, like, as simple as it is, the fresh little mini bread with the whipped garlic butter was incredible. Like, why can we please incorporate that into the Salvatore's menu somehow or something? And the pasta crust for the pizza, I loved that restaurant so much, and it's been gone for 20 something years at this point. I still remember it.
Yeah. It's a bummer because it was like, but I remember that Brian James, a friend from the military, called me off the air when we were on 1280, and he's like, hey, listen, I'm friends with Brian James, and we're looking for a place we can go to eat after, and he goes, preferably not pay. And it's like, let me talk to Sam. And I talked to Sam. He's like, yeah, he's more than welcome. We'll give him anything he wants. And so they went right after his match. They didn't wait till the end of the show. I've always heard stories back then about how everyone's got to stay till the last match is done on a live event / house show. Not the case there. But also Brian James apparently was having chemical dependency issues as well then too. So But you know, he's had enough tough life. He straightened himself out, but now he resigned. Who knows? Maybe he'll be in AEW. He can meet up with Kip James, and they can form the VKM,
No, we can just forget that from memory.
Voodoo Kin Mafia.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, one of the people that the Billy Gunn fan club that doesn't exist but should. I, like I'm not crazy about all the like Edge and Christian stuff and everything that the Hardys are doing and stuff necessarily, whatever. But I, uh, I would love to see one more Outlaws match. I don't care.
Oh,
I
you
would I would
didn't
love it.
know? Oh,
Yeah, I mean, if they,
call
it would be
somebody.
weird for them to do it in AEW, but I mean, he could say whatever he needs to in his promo there. He's not going to be PG censored out. So,
I mean,
um,
they did like Independence. I remember they did Independence when they were doing
oh
TNA.
yeah,
Yeah, so they
oh
went
yeah.
out
No,
and
they
they
did. I mean, 2CW multiple times, and stuff. And I'm trying to remember. I think it was just Billy in ESW, but no, I mean, I somehow I've heard stories from plenty of other people, but I've only ever had really awesome interactions with Road Dogg. Um, I think the most recent one was after a show in Rockford. He was right in front of me in the line at the Travel Plaza Burger King, and he made some comment like standing there waiting and waiting, like, what are they growing the cows back there? Um, so um I remember arguing with him about Crocs at 2CW like 20 years ago too.
I remember, yeah, he was the one. Yeah, I remember J. Lou
Uh,
said that he had the 12-month run of Crocs you could use in the wintertime and summertime,
he was
and
getting little Crocs for his baby girl and stuff,
oh,
um, and at that point I thought I would never own a pair, and then I bought a house pair like 20 years later. So never say never. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't think I've seen much on the positive side from his creative in recent years and stuff. And I don't know. I mean, it's been so long since he's wrestled, whatever. But
yeah.
um, I was an Outlaws fan, I'll always be an Outlaws fan. So
There you go. And it could happen. I mean, and or he wants to retire. Who knows? I mean, we'll see. But I mean, if you do watch those Unreal shows, he's all over them. So it's but well, best of luck to Brian James. Alexandra Williams has been promoted to the lead writer on the Raw brand after this had happened. Williams announced the promotion, and also vice president, I believe, of programming or something, vice president of creative for Raw or something like that. They give you all these great title names. They probably don't, money doesn't match, I'm guessing, but because well, kudos to her. They have a woman who's like a lead writer now on the show. I think that's pretty cool. I mean, Stephanie was lead writer for a long time too. So some other news.
it's
AEW,
interesting. You said Collision's live tonight, so I took a
it is
peek
live.
just to see with obviously we are. I was about to say like we're almost at March and March Madness. No, it's March 7th already somehow. So Selection Sunday is like 8 days away, which is nuts.
That means all the
Oh
tournaments are
no,
coming
that's
up,
against Revolution.
isn't it?
Whatever. I mean, the selection show's only like that might be done during the pre-show, but the only live Collision for the next like 2 months after tonight is March 28th. Because I think at that point it's like all CBS games probably for the tournament. At that point, they're live in good old Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Oh, that place. On March 28th, and then not again until May 2nd in Peoria. Oh God, all these arenas I'm glad I'm probably never gonna go back to. The good old Peoria Civic Center, May 2nd. So yeah, if you want to watch a live Collision, you've got an opportunity tonight, you've got an opportunity in 3 weeks, and then in a couple months.
At the end of the
That's
month.
it.
So, all right.
And we
So,
know how much I hate taped Collision compared to live Collision, so I will be watching tonight.
yeah, I got to say that we've seen an uptrend in ratings for both of AEW TV shows, and then once again this past week, another one, it moved up a bit. So it's exciting that people are, I've seen some very positive comments from people online who say I've never been to AEW before, but I watched the show and it was great, and so it's good.
Yeah, I mean, I think like the one thing I will always prefer a live Collision, always. But I will admit that I mean, whether it's been live or taped, I feel like there's been more of an effort recently with the booking of Collision and also putting more star power on that show. Not necessarily every week. And obviously there's, some people on the card tonight that aren't necessarily considered like main eventers, but um, there has been a positive with the taped collisions in terms of, oh, hey, MJF's already in the building, so we're going to have him do this thing on Collision because we're about to tape it right now. Where, like, would they have flown him into just a Collision to do like a promo or something? Maybe once in a while, but not as frequently. So I feel like there is that benefit a little bit of getting some more of the star power on there, which I think is what most people complained about with Collision is, like it really always felt like a B show.
Yeah.
And then you start to get more stars on it. It's like, okay, well, like they're trying more with it. Of course, then that's when fans are like, I can't believe Tony Khan put this on Collision. It's like, again,
Just
you
remember,
say Collision sucks, but then they try to make it better, and then you say it's a stupid move. Like pick one or the other. You can't have both.
just 2 weeks ago, they had that big Collision from Australia,
Yeah.
and that was heavily promoted, so yeah, I agree. I think it's good to have, star power to, and, yeah, and what was it last week? The Collision started off with an MJF promo. So
Yep. Yep.
yeah, so I remember that very well. So yeah, I agree. And it's like, we'll see. And, it's funny is I have more, AEW news because on March 20th, tickets go on sale for the AEW All In London.
It's March 16th, I thought I heard. Unless maybe that's just a pre-sale that,
Oh,
well, you know what we do these days with entertainment and sports and music and
sorry,
stuff like,
general
oh,
public. Okay, there,
yeah,
you're,
yeah.
you're correct. You're
But
general
we're going to
public.
have a pre-sale and it's exclusive and you could be a part of it, even though we're telling everybody in the world that there's a pre-sale and you can sign up for it now. Like, such a weird thing.
I just bought tickets to see a band like that called the Guess Who. Um, any guesses?
I don't know who. Yeah.
Yes. No, Guess Who. But nevertheless, it's old bad joke. So nevertheless, yeah. So the 20th, you can get them on General Public on Live Nation. The show takes place on Sunday, August 30th, live from Wembley. Apparently, that's a bank holiday weekend, so it's big to do that
Yeah.
then in England.
Yeah.
And you can pre-register as well. Go online. The all-time record they had there at Wembley was 81,035 fans. And so get ready to, if you're going to be there, get ready to buy those tickets. I think in the past they've actually, yeah, it's about this far away. I'm trying to remember if they had on sale had gone on a bit earlier for the 81,000, but it was probably
Well,
about
one of the shows they went on sale a lot earlier than this. So
maybe it was that one because I know it was like they announced it in January or something, and then the tickets went on sale. So you'll like this little story. The honeymoon phase between WWE and ESPN may already be wearing off a little bit. New report from Sports Business Journal journalist Blake Avanon claims that the massive $1.625 billion media right agreement between WWE and ESPN is beginning to show a visible strain. And the build to WrestleMania 42 is repeatedly where those cracks are becoming impossible to ignore. According to Avanon, he said, the source says, within ESPN has described WWE's integration into network's broader ecosystem as a DNA mismatch. Both companies have publicly praised the landmark agreement. Insiders suggest the behind the scenes reality is far more complicated. Of course, because it's pro wrestling. It's not sports. Okay. One of the big issues is this blackout policy that they've started. It's the TKO started this strict watch blackout part for WrestleMania 42 at Allegiant. You can't be anywhere within 50 miles and show the pay-per-view at a bar or at an establishment or anything. So, which is very NFL like of them. But it's interesting is
at this point, can you get into the Super Bowl cheaper than a WrestleMania?
I don't know. Super Bowl is pretty insane too.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that last week we were talking on the show. Rob might have missed this about the free first hours of both WrestleManias going to be on ESPN products. I think first day ESPN Plus or ESPN2 is going to have the first hour of WrestleMania, and the next day regular ESPN is going to have the first hour, the 6 to 7 o'clock hour of WrestleMania, which is I think a compromise to this agreement, or maybe it's part of this agreement, and they just withheld that information a long time ago.
I
But
thought when they first announced it, they made it seem like that was going to kind of be, or in one way or another, there was going to be more on actual ESPN. So,
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many people. I would love to know the percentage of people that regularly watch ESPN that would never keep the TV on WWE for more than 3 seconds, but that's huge exposure for them if they can get an hour on or whatever. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's also in a dead spot of the year for sports, I guess. I mean, baseball starts in April, so maybe that, they're only doing an hour of the
or
show.
March, but
So
yeah,
it kind of reminds me of like when they used to do the pre-show and then they'd be like, "Oh, you got to order now," and as they're turning it off, and you can't see it anymore. It's probably how it's going to work when they're on ESPN. It's like now, if you go over to our ESPN whatever $29 app, maybe our truth will show us how to do it again. Because he showed all the wrestlers backstage a couple weeks ago how to get the app, which was interesting to say the least. The toxic guy
how
was
to get the app.
yeah, how to
What,
get the app on your phone. He was showing everybody how to get the app on your phone.
the ESPN app
Yeah,
or
the one
okay.
that you got to
So you're
pay.
talking about like the WWE app that I was protesting downloading like 100 years ago on this show. Uh, yeah.
True, 9.99 that app. So
Mhm.
interesting. So
We
I
never knew how good we had it, did we?
I
It's
know,
true.
it's like that's what killed us doing bars, doing the pay-per-views at bars was the app. That whole thing killed us doing live shows, giving away prizes and all that fun stuff we used to do. Eating a lot of pizza and having chicken wings and garlic bread.
Garlic
So,
bread.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Shout out to garlic bread. Yeah,
oh,
it's weird. Like, I don't know. Obviously, like I'm not going out of my way to tune into WWE these days, but there have been plenty of things recently where it's just like, oh, I would love to see this match from this show or whatever, and there's nowhere for me to do it. It's real like, am I just gonna go on like a crazy YouTube search to try to see if they've uploaded this one like they've got to figure this out. To have access to almost a full archive for so many years, and now it's a mess
yeah.
trying to find anything old that you want to go watch. So
Yeah, it's a shame they spent all that money building the app up and then immediately sell it, or a couple of years later.
now
So
they just want that YouTube money. It's like,
yeah,
okay, well, just we'll give you this show and you can watch it if you want, but like, no, you can't go through like a menu and search by show name or year or whatever and stuff and pull up whatever you want. Which I loved that capability. So
oh yeah. They never got everything up, but they almost got everything up.
right.
It was like it just there were some things that are still missing, like a couple of years of like nitros and stuff. But I remember watching back in Nitro, and I was like, man, I remember when that was live. It didn't feel like that same kind of show. I mean, wrestling obviously evolved since then, but just the way the quick pan or quick content changes during segments and stuff. Very interesting. So Jade Cargill is not apparently there's Jade Cargill and uh, um, Rhea Ripley are taking each other on at WrestleMania, and they've been kind of like beefing on Twitter. Obviously, it's done by the company, but one of the beefs was talking about the people that Jade Cargill hurt, which is legit. There's like three people, B-Fab, Meechin, and Tiffany Stratton, all got hurt in matches against Jade Cargill. And so Rhea Ripley was kind of pointing that out or something. And it's like, yeah, that's probably something you don't really want to talk about because Jade Cargill may appear to be the most confident person in the world, but when you watch Jade Cargill in the ring, she's still very, very green when it comes to the world of wrestling. Got $1 million body, and that's usually what WWE worries about more than their ability, is the $1 million bodies. So, but it's interesting.
Almost
Still
like they
amazes me
should
how
have.
much she regressed from AEW, and she's been in WWE for what now, 3 years?
Yeah.
If there was ever a person to actually put in NXT to actually get more PC experience in the history of professional wrestling, but nope. Let's just hotshot her to women's champion or whatever she is. That's yeah.
She's gorgeous, but man, she's just very green still.
She's never. I mean, we're not in an era of her like going out and working house shows and stuff too. I mean, that's a big criticism still of AEW in terms of people not getting enough reps and stuff. And obviously, there's some that go out and work the indies and plenty that don't. And if you don't, when are you getting in the ring? Like, when are you getting better? When are you
Yeah.
doing any of this stuff? And for Jade Cargill, I mean, when is she? I don't know. I mean, hopefully there's still some kind of aspect of her like working with somebody in the ring before a show, like she used to do with Danielson and stuff in AEW. But I mean, I don't know if she's WWE Women's World Champion or whichever belt she's got. Like that's got to be. I kind of doubt that's happening. So
I heard that Cody had like one of his suggestions to helping WWE was to start doing live events again, more live events, because, and it's true, you go out and do these. I mean, it might be tough to do, but you go out and do tours of months at a time on the road. You're only going to get better. And
yeah, I mean, we're in a much different era than we used to be in so many ways in the world, but like there was a huge benefit to doing the house shows back in the day. Granted, that was something where people weren't like immediately like live streaming house show matches on social media and stuff. You could do whatever you wanted to in a house show, nobody would see it, but it was an opportunity for people to get more reps or work with each other, even start to like plan like an upcoming pay-per-view match against each other because you'd be working at least once a day against this person all around the world on these house shows and stuff. That's just not a thing anymore. And like the benefit to getting those reps and having kind of that non-pressure situation to be more comfortable with stuff, to try stuff out, whatever. Like it just doesn't exist in wrestling anymore. And for somebody to just get thrown right into the fire, I mean, it's crazy. Like thinking about like how quickly she got pushed in AEW and then goes across the street and they throw her right in the fire too. It's like she's never had an opportunity to just I don't know. I mean, she still should be going to a wrestling school during the week or something. I don't know if she has an opportunity or something with that she just doesn't do, but
And
uh
it's still different when you have, when you have a school, but no crowd reaction to what's going on. I think you really learn a lot how to work a match to a crowd, to getting the reactions and stuff. I think also, but also, like it's interesting as you mentioned that it's like I remember the road to WrestleMania came to Rochester. It was like a week before WrestleMania, and it was
99.
was it 99? I think it might have been, yeah.
It
And
was
it
one
was
in
like
99 for sure.
and there was like there was a four-way, which ended up being the main event of WrestleMania. That was the main event of that show. And I remember it was like The Rock, Austin, Mick Foley, and somebody else, a Kane, I think it was. And
A
it was
McMahon in every corner.
Say that's WrestleMania 2000.
Yeah,
okay.
And I don't know. I mean, I remember 99 there was a house show and
it
it
was
was
Big
like
Show.
Billy Gunn
Big
was like
Show,
the
Stone
hardcore champion or
Cold,
something. Yeah.
Austin, Mick Foley.
That's right. You're right. Yeah, right. And it was, yeah. And that was the show that the Rock that we met the Rock at, actually, when because Mick Foley was doing a signing or whatever and couldn't get back in time for the meet and greet. But that was I remember very well because I had floor seats and we watched it and it was like, okay, this is going to be the same match we're going to see on the pay-per-view. And it pretty much was, except for the not having the McMahons in every corner or whatever, or maybe it wasn't the McMahons. I don't know. Nevertheless, I remember, yes, they used to always call it the road to WrestleMania, and they would hit a lot of places right before the match, and they'd get their stuff set together, and they can't do that anymore, on the road.
Yeah, I know that I always think back to that March 21st, 1999 house show at the War Memorial. There was a three-way for the hardcore title, Billy Gunn against Al Snow against Hardcore Holly. Pretty sure that match and the four-way for the Intercontinental title, Road Dogg, Goldust, Ken Shamrock, Val Venus. Like these are like exact matches that then took place. Undertaker and Big Boss Man.
Yeah, yeah.
Like these are matches that were on like WrestleMania. And yeah, I mean that's how you didn't just go in cold. And now I mean they have such a problem even just like on a day of a show. Like at least I give credit to like WWE especially like doing the second ring in the back or sometimes even in like a ballroom at the hotel or whatever so they can actually like get in the ring because you can't even necessarily like just get in the ring and do everything in an arena on the day of a show and not expect somebody to see something that they shouldn't see yet and then it gets leaked out or whatever. So um I don't know. It's a different era, but I thoroughly miss house shows. I would love to see. I mean, I still think AEW should do like a house show every week. Um you know, like the day before, day after Dynamite or something. Get these people more experience, it doesn't matter how big the crowd is, whatever. But you're just introducing yourself more to like smaller markets. I mean, that's like WWF became a huge deal because back then they were doing house shows, so they went to everywhere. You know, after they got out of just the Northeast, you could see them in every little small town that you could possibly name. And now we're at a point where it's like, oh, they're only doing TV shows and pay-per-views, PLEs, whatever, and like, so they're only going to the big places. You're not going to see, you know, uh, it's a long cry from the, you know, the house shows in Regina, Saskatchewan, like whatever, where
Yeah.
are these people going to become big fans of a WWE or AEW these days because it never comes to their town?
They make a big deal now when they do like a live event too, which, you know,
Yeah.
because they don't do them. So that's why, you know, they make a big deal. Oh, we're going to be one night only. Come catch people from both brands on this
But
show.
then that's like it's Madison Square Garden after Christmas or whatever. Like it's a big time city. Like Chicago gets a house show, whatever. It's not, they're not going to Utica.
I remember Toronto got one before, like the last time they were up there. They had like the Saturday before the pay-per-view, they had a house show or something like that. I know. Oh no, is that where they had the WrestlePalooza? Was that in Toronto? I can't remember. I know it was like they had a house show around then, but yeah, that's, you know, and I think, you know, if TKO realized they can make some money, they don't have to charge as much if they have more shows, you know. So maybe they should try that.
True, but then it's going to be like, oh, well, I can see this match on a house show for $40, or I can go see the same match on the TV show and it cost me $700 for my nosebleeds.
Oh yeah.
So they might be fighting with their own business if they do that, but
Yeah, it's something that a lot of people miss. That's for sure. You know, especially when you're paying $800 for crappy seats. So at a big show.
support indie wrestling. You can get tickets for $25.
There you go. I want third inductee to the 2026 class of WWE Hall of Fame was announced this past week. Axe and Smash of Demolition will be going
Long
in.
overdue.
Yeah, going in with AJ Styles and Stephanie McMahon. So there's three inductions already. I'm assuming we'll get more. WWE has signed Zoe Hines, the niece of actress
Wait,
Cheryl Hines.
Danhausen hasn't been officially announced yet.
No, not fair. It's on his list of demands. So
They got time to pull it off. Yeah.
WWE signed Zoe Hines, the niece of actress Cheryl Hines, who is married to Robert Kennedy Jr. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's interesting to be, you know, it was one of the people who tried out, I guess, for the tryouts that were held during SummerSlam week. And Kennedy credits Linda McMahon for having a lot to do with the signing. Apparently she is an athlete, but not wrestling, you know, but she'll be doing that now. So
Speaking
also,
of rushing people to TV, is she going to be wrestling on the White House lawn in a couple months or whatever?
yeah, who knows? I know that I'm sure Jelly Roll will be there. He just announced last night that he's going to be on next week's SmackDown. So if you are watching SmackDown from Phoenix, Arizona, the Mortgage Matchup Center, you're going to see Jelly Roll, as well as Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes will be doing promos against each other. Jordan Grace suffered a mishap last night and is apparently injured. I saw that Jordan Grace was wearing a boot backstage. Happened on a dark match, believe it or not. Actually, it was main event. It wasn't a dark match. WWE's this week's main event, and Jordan was unfortunately prone in the ring when I saw the pictures. So definitely
Trivia question: where do you watch main event
That's
these
a good
days? Because I
question.
didn't even know that was still a show, but I assumed it was.
I have no idea. It's
Like
probably
there's not an app anymore, and
probably
it's
foreign
not.
markets.
They put it on YouTube or something. I have no idea. I
Do they
literally
still
have no
have
idea.
speed on X?
I don't even think Speed's on X anymore. I think because
They can move to tout.
they they moved Speed the X title or the Speed title to NXT now. So and that kind of disappeared now too.
Imagine if we still had Vine and they made matches for Vine.
Oh,
God.
remember Vine 5 seconds? Yeah. Remember how high they were on Vine, and then Vine disappeared very quickly after. But yeah, so Jordan
WWE main event since January 8th of this year has aired on YouTube, apparently. Okay.
we can see it. Mike DeGiorgio. Remember that when you're racking up the points for people. It's an internet only show, which you would not let us do with other programs. So I'm gonna remind him of that when I see him today. So I'm going to see him, by the way. So let's see what else. Tom Brady and WWE. There was some Tom Brady was taking shots at WWE and Logan Paul recently, and there's been some discussions backstage about having Tom involved in something. Maybe because Tom is part owner of the Raiders, who are from Las Vegas. So there's nothing, there's no expectations right now. But Tom Brady has been quoted this past week of saying, demeaning WWE products. So we'll see. And also not a big fan of Logan Paul either, apparently, since he sold his Pokemon card for $13 million or whatever the hell that was. But hey, you know what? I'm at the bottom of the list for news. No more. Oh, wait a second. Is there one more? Nope, nope, nope. It's just more of Tom Brady stuff. So that's it for the news today. Rob, you got anything coming up? ESW?
ESW is this Friday. 7 o'clock, Frontier Fire Hall, Niagara Falls, New York. ESW Tough Luck 2026 with Joey Janela against Spencer Slade. Gregory Iron will put the heavyweight title on the line against Cheech. As Cheech and Colin were just yesterday, finally is a weird word to use, but they were stripped of the ESW tag titles due to Colin's unfortunate injury. So Cheech gets a world title shot, a heavyweight title shot out of that. Cruel, the big man, will take on Cloudy. So that's like 6'8" or 6'10" against 5'4", 5'5". Shout out to Cloudy. I'm not demeaning you with that.
But Cloudy's like 4'10", right?
He's like 5'4.5".
Okay.
But he's the one that all these decades later still won't age at all, like the rest of us. There's a 4-way tag match. There's a women's championship. There's a lot going on. So that is Friday. Yeah, Friday the 13th, 7 o'clock. I believe we are doing that as a live to tape to go on IWTV later. I don't believe we're doing this one live. So tickets still available. Really fun. And you can get probably a couple rows worth of seats for you and your friends if they're still available, as opposed to getting one WWE ticket. So
There you go. There you go. Don't go to Russ. Don't fly to Vegas and spend all that money. Spend it here.
$25 GA, I believe. So
Nothing. You're never going to see closer than a GA ticket to an indie event. It's like you're going to do in a WWE show.
Yeah, and ESW in that building, you can see the future stars like Danhausen. I was in that same building not even a year and a half ago. So
very cool.
Yeah.
I think the UPW is going to show today in Rochester if at their new facility. So if you want to check that out. On that note, I don't think I've got anything else to talk about, but send my best to Scotty Bender. I've not seen him since last year when we were doing the final match when he came in and did the ring announcing, which was pretty cool. And I got to do the opener. So it's been a while. Yeah. And besides that, we'll get out of here. We'll let you people know. We'll be back same bat time. And then next week, we've got an AEW pay-per-view to pimp, we'll say. I don't know if pimp's the right word. We'll definitely go
Pimping
through.
ain't easy.
We'll tell you what we think about what's going to happen. And that's all next week. Revolution, is it?
Revolution.
Yep. There we go. AEW Revolution. So we'll see you next week, folks. Have a great week, wrestling weekend. Don't forget tonight, Collision, 8:00. We'll see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. There we go. All right. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. I like Rob. I was going to kind of like wait for you to stop talking. And then I was going to